Have you ever walked out of an interview just buzzing? You know the feeling. The chemistry was there, your answers were on point, and you could practically feel the job offer coming your way. And then, nothing. Or you get that dreaded, super polite rejection email. It is so frustrating, right? And it just leaves you thinking, what on earth did I do wrong?
Well, first off, you're not crazy for feeling that way. It is genuinely baffling when everything feels so right, but you still don't get the job. The thing is, the real reasons for rejection are often hidden, and they might have absolutely nothing to do with how well you thought that conversation went.
So let's make some sense of that chaos, shall we? We're going to walk through everything, from simple qualification gaps to that tricky vibe check, and even some reasons that are completely out of your hands. And by the end of this, you'll have a much clearer idea of how to turn this last rejection into your next big win. Okay, let's get right into it. That silence after an interview can be brutal. You're replaying every single word, totally convinced you were the one. We are about to pull back the curtain and figure out why that yes you were so sure about somehow turned into a no. It pretty much always comes down to one of these 7 common and, let's be honest, often unspoken reasons. And once you understand them, you'll feel so much more in control of your next opportunity.
So, let's start with the most obvious place, your qualifications. But here's the twist. It's not always as straightforward as you think. A so-called qualification gap can pop up in a couple of really surprising ways.
First, there's the chance you were just up against an insanely competitive group. And second, and this one is super frustrating, is when the company basically moves the goalposts halfway through the game.
So let's be real. This is probably the single most common reason you get a rejection. You were great, you were qualified, but in a strong pool of candidates, someone else just had that tiny little edge. Maybe they had one more year of experience, or they knew one specific software program a little better. It's often a game of inches, and it's not a personal knock on your skills.
This one. This happens constantly. A company starts hiring for a certain role, but as they interview people, they start to realize, you know what? We actually need someone with a slightly different, maybe more senior skill set. And just like that, the job they're actually hiring for isn't the job you interviewed for anymore. It's a tough one because it has absolutely nothing to do with you.
Okay, so those are 2 huge reasons you might hear no after an amazing interview. But let's pause for a second. What if you can't even get that far? If you're sending out applications and just hearing crickets, the problem is probably happening way before any human even gets a chance to see your name.
And here is the brutal truth of the modern job search. Take a look at this. A whopping 75% of resumes get automatically rejected by software, these things called applicant tracking systems, or ATS bots. Your resume could be perfect, it could be brilliant, but if the robot can't read it, you're basically invisible.
And that brings me to a tool I seriously recommend called mobilecv.ai. They built their entire platform to solve this exact problem. Because if your resume is getting stuck, it's almost certainly your formatting, not your experience. Mobilecv.ai is designed from the ground up to create resumes that beat those bots. Look, the old way of doing things, fiddling with Word docs, it just creates these tiny formatting errors that make the ATS scanners choke. But mobilecv.ai uses world-class AI and something called LaTeX formatting to build a perfect, clean resume in like 60 seconds. It just sails right through the system. And honestly, the best part? There's no sneaky monthly subscription. You actually get 3 free credits just to try it out. All right, let's shift gears from the technical stuff to the much more human side of things. Sometimes a rejection has nothing to do with your skills and everything to do with that personal connection. Or, a lack of one. This is the infamous vibe check. This one can be a tough pill to swallow because it's just so subtle. You might have made a harmless joke about not being a morning person without realizing the hiring manager gets up at 5 a.m. to hit the gym. It's a tiny thing, but it can create this invisible wall that you don't even know is there.
And that whole personal connection thing is tied directly to this idea of culture fit. You hear this term thrown around all the time, but what does it really mean? It's pretty simple. It's just about how well your personal working style clicks with the company's overall vibe and the team they already have.
And this is so important to understand. It is not about whether they liked you as a person. It's about whether your style would mesh with the team. I mean, think about the huge difference between a traditional buttoned-up company like IBM and the super relaxed move fast and break things vibe at Google. You could be a rock star at one and just not the right fit for the other, and that's okay.
Okay, now let's talk about the factors that are way more in your control. This is all about how you present yourself in that room and actively prove to them that hiring you is the answer to their problems.
Oh man,
This is so common. Nerves can totally get the best of us. Or sometimes we just haven't done enough homework to really understand what that company actually needs in this role. If you can't clearly connect the dots between your skills and their specific pain points, you're making it really hard for them to pick you.
And here's another one, your enthusiasm level. Look, we all know not every single job is our ultimate dream job. But if a hiring manager gets even a whiff of low energy or a lack of real interest, alarm bells go off. They start to worry you're just looking for any old paycheck or a quick stepping stone to something else. They want to hire people who are genuinely excited to be there.
Exactly. And that enthusiasm can't just show up on interview day. It has to start from the very beginning. This is where a fantastic cover letter can be a total game changer. It's your first chance to show you've done the research and are genuinely fired up. And actually, our sponsor, MobileCV.ai, has a great AI cover letter generator that helps you do just that. It tailors your message so that authentic interest really shines through.
Now, I want to talk about a really crucial reason that might just help you stop blaming yourself. Because sometimes the game was rigged from the very start, and it has absolutely nothing to do with you.
This is one of the most maddening but real parts of the corporate world. A manager already has someone in mind for the job, usually someone already at the company. But HR policy says they have to post the job publicly and interview a few external people. You could give the best interview of your entire life, but the job was never really on the table to begin with.
So, after hearing all this, where does that leave you? I want you to start reframing rejection. It's not a failure. It is data. Every single interview, every no, is a learning opportunity. It's giving you clues that will help you land the next opportunity, which is probably a better one anyway.
So, here's your homework. I want you to look back at your last rejection and think about it through this lens. Was it something you could actually control, like how you talked about your value? Or was it something you couldn't, like an internal hire? The real power here doesn't come from getting every job. It comes from understanding why you didn't. So which one of these are you going to focus on first?